Hello, everybody. This is Gary Yao. I'm here with Frank Lopez. Frank, Merry
Gary,
Christmas.
how are you?
I'm good. Just came back from Christmas time.
All right.
But being very festive, very happy. And what question do you have today?
Well, I'm about to finish up on probably one of the most challenging transactions I've ever had, and it's got me started thinking. Everybody's got like their own favorite story of that one transaction that just was so. I don't want to say difficult.
Uh-huh.
I like to use the word challenging, so we'll keep.
Challenging.
So I'll keep it a challenging. So Gary, let me ask you this: if I asked you, what's the most challenging, or one of the most challenging trends? Okay, Alexa is chiming in. Sorry about that,
Oh,
Gary.
no worries. So you were
She
saying,
likes she listens in on all of my conversations. So my question to you, Gary, not Alexa, is when I ask you, tell me about one of your most challenging transactions. What's the first one that comes to mind?
okay. Of course, this is what I keep saying. The we are paid to solve problems. The
Right?
bigger the problem, the most we get paid, the more handsomely. So we solve the bigger
Correct.
problem, we get paid handsomely for that.
Correct.
That is also in correlation to the biggest transaction or the hardest transaction I have to done was when I was trying to sell my own property. It was a flip.
Okay, so you were the listing agent
I was a listing agent and I was a seller.
and the seller.
Yeah.
Was there a buyer's agent?
Yeah, there was a buyer's agent.
Okay, that
was
was that, and that was not Gary.
it was not Gary.
Okay, got it.
the
Okay,
buy,
but we're starting out where the seller's Gary and the listing agent is Gary.
and the buyer is also the agent.
Oh,
Double whammy, right?
wow,
So let me tell you
wow.
this. This is a property that I purchased a few years back.
Okay,
I prospect the seller.
okay,
I negotiate with the seller. They like me. They say, hey, we want to sell it, and I said, well, I'd be interested in buying this property as a flip. I was very transparent. I disclosed everything. I'm coming as an agent, and I'm coming as a principal, and my intention is to buy this property to flip as soon as I can. Do you have any objections? And they say, no, we don't care as long as you can, give us the price that we want. We negotiate the price and I purchase it. This property was in Claremont. Um, all the numbers make sense. It was minimum job to fix and flip. Actually, it didn't really need to do much. It's just a matter of painting it, do a few things here and there, and maybe work on the landscape. That's it. So,
okay,
all my numbers make sense. The timing makes sense as well. It was in smack middle of summer, which is, as we know, um,
good time.
a good time to sell.
Mhm.
The kids are out of school, and people, the parents were ready to change school districts, or if you are newly parents, or you need to upgrade. That's the time that you purchase. So I put the property, I purchased it. It took me 1 month to fix, and as soon as I purchased, 1 month later, I put it in the market. Not too long
Okay,
after, I got multiple offers. I mean, multiple offers. Uh,
okay, so far so good.
and I did my due diligence. I actually hired a what's it called, appraisal, to appraise the
Okay,
property. Yeah, appraised for way over my asking price. I don't mind to tell you, I actually listed the property for 750, and the appraisal came at 805. And I said, hey, maybe we can sell for 800. No problem, right? Um, Open house, I have overwhelming good response. One weekend, I think about 10 offers. Overall, within 2 weeks, I have about 20 offers, 2 weeks or so. And I was
what year?
negotiating
What year was this, Gary?
2022.
2022. Okay, so that's when interest rates were still in the threes.
You're
Yes.
right there. You're right there. You're right there. Do you remember what happened in March of 2022?
Was that when the rates went doubled? Was it
I
2022?
Yeah, I remember vividly because I was there.
Wait a minute. I thought it was 2023.
Nope, it was 2022. I remember because I was there. Actually,
Okay.
rates actually started creeping up in March of 2023. Very little. That didn't face the market. By the time I put my property market in July, interest rate was already at 5%.
Okay, but that was before rates went up to 8%.
Guess what? By the time it was August, beginning of September, it was at 8.
Wow. Okay. Where you are, so you were in escrow at that time.
Yes.
Oh no, that's okay. So this is where the story starts going down,
Yes.
or in the
Remember,
wrong direction.
I listed the property at 750 and I have it appraisal 805. I say, look, give me 800 and I sell it to you. No problem. So I sell it. We opened it at 800. Property what was it called? The buyers didn't approve because interest went up. I said, okay, let's do 750 then. No, they don't approve for that. Well, what can I do? We can do 650.
Ooh,
Ooh, exactly. Ooh, exactly. So, needless to say, I didn't sell the property at that time, and by the time it was all said and done, the property was I was getting offered for 630.
whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
for everywhere for
Oh,
800,
ouch.
805 was six. This is not. This is the sticker shock. It wasn't because the property was appraised at that value. It was because people couldn't afford that price because the interest rate went up from 3.5 to almost 8% in that couple of months time.
Okay.
My purchase on that property, I was doing a hard money loan. I was paying $5,000 a month. 5,000.
Ouch.
Yeah, and I was expecting to get out of it within 3 months. So I pay what, open and close, open and escrow. When I purchase it, I get like a grace period of 2 weeks. So the time that I took to fix it was 1 month, 5,000, and I was in escrow period another 5,000, 10,000 in 2 months. I was expected to be out of it by then. Um,
Okay.
and I didn't know what to do. The market was shifting, and I was headed into fall or winter time around this time, right? People are all
Wow.
jolly.
The
Needless to
story's just getting worse and worse.
I didn't have a good Christmas that year in 2022. And I had my first daughter was born in August.
Oh,
So I have a
jeez.
newborn, a wife at home. I have this house that I couldn't get offload, and I had to pay Harmon loan every month. So what I did, I was researching and looking into it, and luckily I was able to put some furniture in it. I purchased some furniture, I turned it to Airbnb. Good. The
Oh,
Airbnb brought me some money.
okay.
I was actually making about, I would say on average, about $3,000 a month.
Okay.
And I did have a good turnaround around Christmas time because the holidays, people were, I did have some families who came to visit the town, and they liked this Airbnb in Claremont because yeah, I put a pool table. There was a jacuzzi, a spa already in the backyard, so that helped. I
Uh,
just put some lighting. All in all, I think maybe $5,000 in
mhm.
decorations, five to less than 10, about $7,000 all in total. So that helped mitigate the cost. Instead of bleeding 5,000, I was bleeding maybe $2,000. Comes the new year, I'm like, okay, I will
Mhm.
give it a try again. Let's see how the market turn around. Past New Year's, I get a notice. It
Mhm.
happens that in that street, the mayor of Claremont lives, and he didn't like that how Airbnb there. He didn't like strangers coming to that one street.
How did they find out that it was you were Airbnb-ing it?
Neighbors,
And did the city or does the city have an ordinance against Airbnbs?
they did.
Oh,
I did not know that. And then they give a notice like, hey, this is ordinance. This is the paragraph that says you cannot do Airbnb short-term rentals. You can only do midterms. I'm like, wow, what I do now? Did I get fined? He's like, well, we catch you again, then there'll be some consequences. Good thing the
okay.
laws,
So there was no fine.
there was no fine. The
The,
laws was
the
still
what?
new on it.
Uh-huh.
So they were still tweaking about, what
Okay, good, good.
was
I was
time.
going to say the story is just getting worse and worse.
It was bad. Like like, do I need to go to the city? Are they going to? I'm going to get citation. I was like, no, not now, but we will use citate you if we catch you again. I'm like, well, there's no fine right now. I'm going to continue because I cannot. Like, I rather ask for sorry, forgiveness than to say ask for information. So like, I cannot stress the fact that I was bleeding, and you know that time when the real estate that year turned all those businesses about but with buyers, it was hard because now we're gone the multiple offers. You look anywhere in the late 2020s, 2022 to 2023, it was bad, as you might
Yeah,
remember.
yeah. It was, we were still, at least the public and sellers were still um, counting on
Yeah.
uh, multiple offers,
Yes.
property selling in a week or two, which is
Yeah.
where we which is where we were right before you bought that property. So you know what that tells me, Gary?
Mhm.
That you brought bad luck to the entire real estate
Oh, so
industry.
I did
You were,
it. Once I
you were,
get
you
involved
were,
into this, I jump
you were,
in.
it
Suddenly,
went it went downhill as soon as Gary started this transaction and went downhill from there.
as soon
I think it's all
I
I think it's all your fault, Gary. In
so
fact, I'm not sure I would publish this video.
too bad it's going. This is happening. So, so yeah. As soon as I jump in as my first flip, fix and flip, and I put it, I thought I did it in a very nicely manner. Oh, by the way, I did have an offer for 750. I didn't take it. I wanted 800. So 799, which looking back, I should have taken the 750 instead because that would close faster. But I waited a little bit to get the best offer negotiating. That negotiating period took an extra 10 days, which in
So
retrospect,
let me stop you there, Gary. So would you say then that in looking back in retrospect, is it better to jump on the offer that sounds okay, it's not great, rather than wait or because I know we tell clients this all the time, but you lived it.
yes.
So so
Let me
looking
say
back,
this. There's a saying that the best doctors makes for the worst patients.
uh, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. Like I knew I had the theory, I had the experience, but yet I was too emotionally involved and I was not being a good doctor and a good patient to myself. I was like, I didn't analyze like where, like I was so involved in this that I wasn't being objective. Had I been objective, had it been somebody else that like even let's say a family member, I would say take it because this was a good offer. It was a sound offer, and the market was turning really fast. And I said, I have time. I have time. I thought I had time, but it
But
got me keeping this house for a year.
wow. But isn't it funny how we poach our clients because we want the best for our clients. And we've always been told in our business that if you have a good offer, you take it
Yeah,
because because often that good offer goes away
yeah,
and and while you're waiting for a great offer, the good offer goes away and the property's been on the market longer and longer, and ultimately you never get that good offer again. And we're trained to coach our clients to do that because we can show historically that that's always been the case 99% of the time.
yeah. The best offers are the first one to come in, and I didn't take it, and I pay for it dearly. I calculated that I have the house for, um, what's it called, 12 months, 12 months,
Wow.
give or take, and calculate that 12 months
S-
times $5,000. That's
that's
60,000.
60 that's $60,000 of profit out the window.
Yeah, and consider, yeah, like I did have Airbnb, but that was for only a few months because the city came to me and shut the whole operation down. So I had
I
to.
I would have done the same thing if the mayor would have send me a notice. Yes, you don't mess around.
So I shut the operation, and oh yeah, and then the buyer was the agent himself. He was buying the house for himself. So I'm like another bad situation because he was like me, was not objective because he was negotiating on his behalf and I was negotiating on my behalf. So there was no middle grounded person that was objective. So the negotiation was haywire because we kept
Wow.
on wanting instead of seeing what is it that will make this transaction go along. So imagine me being emotionally involved and not being objective, and the buyer, the agent being the same, not being objective and being emotionally involved because they want. So we were like at odds. And this was my worst transaction because there's nobody else to talk to. I couldn't ask my agent. I was the agent.
You couldn't scream at the agent.
I couldn't
Well,
scream at the other
well, you
agent because he was the
well,
buyer.
and and you couldn't scream at the listing agent because he wasn't taking your advice.
Exactly. And what do I tell the buyer's agent? Like, hey, we need to get this done. And the buyer's like, let me talk to my buyer, which is himself. You see how this is crazy? This is a recipe for disaster. Not to say this was a conundrum, like this was an odd world, and I can see why it, now in retrospect, it shouldn't happen. I should have somebody else to be the agent on this transaction.
And that it's funny. As you're telling me the story and the characters, the my first thought is it sounds like it sounds like it was a divorce situation, obviously different situation, but it sounds like you were a divorce situation where the divorce attorney representing the husband was was himself,
Husband,
and he was married to another attorney who was representing
yourself,
herself.
yeah,
So you had two attorneys and no separation and no way of having the a rational voice
there was none.
because
There was none.
there was none.
It was none. Like, hey, there's a disclosure right here. Oh, okay. Let me see. Oh no, you have to fix it. Okay, I'm not gonna fix it. Why not? And it's like, well, where's the realtor here? There's no. So that was the worst experience that I could ever had, and that lasted for I think 2 months.
Wow.
It was not
Wow.
necessarily. I think I have gray hairs here because of that. I think I lost so much sleep because of this, not necessarily. And when I closed the transaction, I was so grateful that I'm not doing this again. And and this with this, I didn't lose money. I make a small profit with all when everything is said and done. And I can tell you right now that um in moving forward, well, maybe you can tell me what you think.
My first
What's
question, and you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to, but my first question is, how much did your wife know what was going on? Your wife that had just delivered her first baby.
he didn't know even the half of it. He knew that this was a alligator. It was a money pit. She
She,
knew that it was an alligator, it's a money pit, but she didn't
she
know.
she knew things were going wrong, but she just didn't know how bad.
Yeah, she does it. And with half of what was going on, she was not happy because I promised her like we're going to be okay with this. We're going to make profit. Like, but the market turned, and that's one of the things about speculating. When you invest, and what I was doing wasn't exactly investing; it was speculation because I was banking that the market was going to continue to go upward, which, as we know, is not the case.
Gary, were you in the business in 2006?
No, I was not.
Okay.
I started the business officially in 2016.
Okay. So I was. And I'll keep this short because I know we've been on the
Yeah.
call for a while. But um that was the biggest um the the biggest problem, the biggest I'm even having trouble coming up with a word because it was just so extreme.
Mhm.
But you just had so many people at that time who were not buying houses because they were buying their dream home. They were
Yeah,
buying houses. They're buying houses with one thought and one thought only. And I shouldn't say everybody, but
this
it
was the
seemed
thing.
it seemed like the majority of the buyers were speculators,
Mhm.
assuming the same thing. Hey, it's just going to keep going up,
Yeah,
and it stopped, and it was just hell for everybody, including us who were in the business. It was
yeah,
just the worst work environment I've ever been involved with. It was just painful to watch. It was painful to see, so many people just go from I'm going to make so much money to I'm 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 losing I'm losing my initial investment. I'm not getting it back, and on top of that, I still have to tell my spouse.
yeah. So
I mean,
that
it
was
was bad. It was a bad
so.
situation. So Gary, I'm glad you survived.
Thank you.
I'm glad your marriage survived.
Yes,
And so my advice to you,
yes.
don't ever hire yourself. And I'm not saying don't hire Gary. I know Gary's very good at what he does. But Gary being the client and Gary also being the agent,
Yeah,
you need that separation. It's again using that example of you don't put two divorce attorneys together representing themselves. You need separation. You need a rational voice who's going to make decisions, or not decisions, who's going to make recommendations
yeah,
that you would normally listen to, and normally you would. But in this
exactly.
case, Gary, yeah, it's hard to listen to your own advice.
Now I know, and it took me this experience, this situation to learn. But maybe next time
Well,
it's your turn to share.
Gary, I don't have I don't have a
You
story
will.
like that, but I do have a horror story. But I don't have a horror story where I was both agent and seller or buyer. So, but I do have one that I'll share next week.
Sounds good. Frank, it was a pleasure, and I talk to you next time.
Gary, I'm glad that the story almost had a happy ending. Could have been worse.
It did have a happy ending. I learned, and I got some profit, and my wife's still with me. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you.
That's the best you could have expected.
Bye now.
All right, Gary.